What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to episode 141 of the Rise to Glory here with Gibraltar Apex. And today we have the third episode of this, our Champions League campaign for our 20th season. Today we're going to be taking on Porto away from home and then potentially Everton. Of course, quite a lot hangs in the balance of this first game, as winning it would all but secure us top spot in the group, which would be an absolutely fantastic achievement. If we lose, however, squeaky bum time commences, and it will be a little bit tight going into the last game of the group stage against Everton. So anyway, since the last episode, just a few games to tell you guys about real quick. We played Lynx and Lincoln Red Imps. We won 6-0 and 3-0 respectively, and all in all, just some really good performances. You will notice since the Copenhagen game, there's been a quite hefty period of time. It's actually been about 3 weeks, and in that time there was a international break of sorts. Was it an international break? It was an international break. I don't even know why I'm doubting myself. There was an international break. And all my players came back injured. We have some problems going into today's first game. As you can see, Paul Smith out. He returns to full fitness in 3 days. Not going to be fit for today's game. Sebastian Girard out for 4 to 8 days. Gilvan out for 2 to 4 days. Joe Pouchard out for 7 to 12 days. And of course, Junior still out with his broken leg. So lots of really short-term injuries which kind of play havoc with my team. And have certainly hindered my prep going into today's episode, which is, I don't know, it's not great, is it? Let's be honest. It leaves us in a bit of a tricky situation. In terms of the team, because of the injuries and because a lot of the injuries are with attacking midfielders and wingers, I actually think that for today's game, our best bet is actually going to be to play our 4-4-2 and see how we get on. In terms of how we're going to set up in this 4-4-2, it's a little bit weaker than perhaps the team I'd normally like to play, unfortunately, but that is just kind of the nature of, I guess, the situation we find ourselves in. The injuries have kind of played havoc. In terms of the team, I think we're going to go with Guendouzi and Mosca up top alongside each other, kind of the little and large combo there. In the midfield, it's going to be a bit of a mixed match of Jose Maria coming into the side. Of course, a player I only really brought in to play backup. Very good player, though. Can definitely play out in the left-hand kind of side of midfield for us. Mini Mosca's going to be alongside him. The defensive midfielder definitely improved a lot already this year at 21 years old, making a lot of appearances for the Spanish under-21 side as well. Alongside him, we go with Volsky in the kind of playmaker role. Of course, we do have Gilvan and Bouchard, who also kind of can fulfill this role in the team. However, they're both injured, so we're kind of blessed with the fact we have got quite a few talented playmakers in our ranks. At right midfield for today's game, I think we're going to have to play Graf right. Of course, more traditionally a right midfielder, but today he's going to have to kind of do a job for us out wide on the right. The injuries, as you can see, they've just simply torn our team to shreds. Anyway, looking at our back four, that's one of the few areas where it is unchanged. Young in goal, Kabasele, Assad, Mustafa and Gaiganov. I guess we're fortunate in terms of the fact our back five is pretty strong. But that said, I'm hoping that with it really being a lot of midfield injuries, we can kind of come through this and still get a few goals. Of course, I feel like if Mosca and Guendouzi were also injured, then we really would be in trouble. But with Girard injured, we lose a little bit of firepower, but we are blessed in the attacking department, so we're not too concerned there. I am particularly concerned, I guess, about this midfield when you consider that really Volsky and Mini Mosca are definitely two players who can play alongside each other in the centre of the park. But out wide with Jose Maria and Graf right, just two players who you wouldn't really want to pick unless you had to. Paul Smith will be on the bench for us, so he could come on and play on the left-hand side, but he has not won his race to get fit, unfortunately. 88% condition, 93% match sharpness. Just not ready. This is going to be a tough game, though. I'm under no illusions. Hopefully for the Everton game, with players coming back to full fitness, we will have a much stronger side. But no, it's going to be hard. It's going to be tricky. We're going to go with the traditional 4-4-2. It might cause us some problems, the fact that they're playing a 4-2-3-1. Of course, we did beat Porto 5-0, but that was with a very, very kind of full-strength side. And I think it's fair to say that in today's game, there isn't a full-strength side, certainly. The midfield is weaker. Playing the 4-4-2, which whilst I was a fan of in the early days, I do think is somewhat limiting given our team. But no, we're going to go out today. We'll see how we get on. Not going to be an easy match by any means, but hopefully, if we take the chances that come our way, we can come away with something. A draw in this game would still be a pretty good result, all things considering. Either way, Porto, actually, the team immediately on the attack, and while they hit the woodwork within the first 37 seconds, that is not a particularly promising sign of things to come. Of course, we are away from home, and they've got another chance here. Ball whipped in, Mustafa clears it away. Very nice Cristiano, the striker, who hits it, goes blazing over the crossbar. But wow, that would have been some goal if it had gone in. And it's now with Banchero, their goalkeeper. Looking at the stats early on, Porto really bossing kind of possession. Part of me already is contemplating switching to a 4-3-1-2 and playing the narrower system. We can play that with our wide men. I just don't know if it's as strong. You know what? I'm making a very reactionary change here, but I think it's one that I've got to do. I'm going to go with the 4-3-1-2. And we're going to change things up here. We're going to play Graf Wright as the centre defensive mid. Jose Maria is the roaming playmaker, I think. Although Jose Maria might be a better box-to-box. I'm going to check that. I don't want to watch the highlight. There's loading. I'm not tabbing out for FM. I don't want to witness it. We'll play Moscow as roaming playmaker. And Volsky as a centre attacking mid. Certainly not his normal role, but it's a role he's going to have to play today for us. But no, we are a bit of a mess, I guess, going into today's game. Really unfortunate with injuries. We can't sit back and blame them too much. But particularly in the midfield, to have Smith, Gilvan and Bouchard all out injured, to have Junior out injured as well, that's basically that is potentially my first 4 kind of best midfielders injured, if I'm honest. Like, that is a midfield 4 that I would play and feel very confident in. And well, to have them all injured simultaneously, fortunately, for the most part with short-term injuries, it's just a pain. We might have a chance here, though. Guendouzi with an effort, Banchero with the save. I'm hoping that going to that more compact 4-3-1-2 is going to help us a little bit defensively. Kind of win that midfield battle. I feel like playing the 4-4-2 with the wider midfielders, we're perhaps spreading ourselves a little bit thin. I feel like whilst we might give up a little bit of the play in the wide areas with this narrower system, just having a sheer quantity of bodies in the middle should allow us to deal with anything. That's going to be offside as well. That was a weird thing. The goal went in, the player didn't celebrate, and the flag was raised, and it didn't even kind of do the whole false hope offside goal thing. That was odd. Either way, we're on the attack here. Mini Moscow out wide with Cabasele. Ball in, Guendouzi, Jack. I need to come up with a nickname for Guendouzi. I do. Guendouzi. That's like a cross between Guangzhou and Guendouzi. Just casually getting my Belgium and Chinese football clubs muddled up. I might just call him Douz. Like D-O-U-Z. That's kind of a cool name. I'm thinking, like, in a changing room, okay, obviously you have really crappy nicknames for players when they just kind of they add a Y on the end of their name. So it'd be like, for Paul Smith, it'd be Smithy. We'll just call him Doozy. Either way, Cristiano with the effort goes wide. That's a bit of a let-off. A draw here would still be a pretty good performance, I think. But at half-time, it's going to be 1-1. Whether or not we can keep that the case, I guess, going into the second half, I guess, remains to be seen. Just going to try and motivate the players as best I can. Tell them that they weren't bad, but they can improve. Mostly, I must say, a positive reaction, which is good to see. Of course, we have got some options for players we could bring on, but we want to hold off them, I think, for now at least. We don't want to make any changes too soon. And the Sacramento, though, with a questionable tackle. Could we get a goal straight from kickoff? Why not? Ball in. It goes narrowly wide. Defender actually headed it away there. And now it's a corner. Ball whipped in. Near post, not one, but Volsky still there. Crosses it in back post. Banchero collects. And the false hope highlight that marks the start of the second half finishes right there with disappointment. Either way, they're on the attack. Nice interception, though. Now can we break? Mosca gets the ball. Options on ahead. Don't lose the ball there. Gets out-muscled by Santen. And now the ball forward to Assad. Composed back to Young. Lots of trust between the centre-back and goalkeeper there. And now we do come away with it. Volsky out wide to Gaiganov. Stretching Porto wide, but giving the ball away there in a bad situation. And Assad, what have we just witnessed? That's something that you saw a lot of in FM14 where centre-backs just stopped running. I've not seen it often in FM16. I had horrific flashbacks then. Fortunately, I think Young made a fantastic save and bailed us out there, but that was odd. Assad just decided he didn't want to run anymore and decided to watch the ball, which is, somewhat frustrating to watch in 2D. Either way, 25 minutes left. Jose Maria's had a bad game. Let's bring in JJ. I'm going to take off Guendouzi. He scored, though. He scored. Can I take him off when he scored? I think we'll bring in Paul Smith for Volsky, who's had a bit of a poor game as well. We'll go with those two changes for now. We've got Rildo, who we can bring on, the kind of striker, who we might bring on if we're still chasing this game and it's still 1-1 late on. Nice block there. Now Paul Smith, the sub. Not 100% fit, but on for the last 20 minutes. JJ, the sub. Guendouzi, if he'd scored that, it would have been an incredible goal. He didn't need to hit it so soon. Definitely a lack of composure there by Guendouzi. Let's take him off the back of that. Let's bring in Rildo to work some magic. I know Mosca's had a slightly worse game, but I kind of feel like with Mosca, he's just too good. He has he'll do something out of absolutely nothing. He'll have a bad game all day and then he'll just score an absolute screamer. Either way, we do need to defend it. Porto with the ball forward. Mustafa lays it off to Young, who now clears it up to Rildo, the sub. Lays it off to Mosca. Over on the overlap is Kabasele. Can Kabasele get a ball of quality into the box? Crosses it in. Mosca's there. Mosca scores, and well, it's what I said. There's games where Mosca does nothing, and then he just kind of turns up and, well, scores like he did there. A really nice goal. Let's change our fullbacks to defend. I do want to give a little bit of a shout there to Kabasele at left back. He's right-footed, of course. And, well, he put in a good ball there on his weaker foot for Mosca to get on the end of. But no, for the rest of this game, we'll play with our fullbacks on defend. We don't need to risk too much here. We just want to stay solid. 3 minutes left. A goal here would be absolutely, well, it'd be heartbreaking, wouldn't it? We've already conceded one late goal against Everton, of course. And, well, it's Porto on the attack here. Kabasele, just get the ball clear. What is that? It's like we want to concede. Fortunately, Young in goal has made a great save there, but oh my gosh, 15 seconds left. Just blow the whistle, ref. I can't deal with this. This is going to be a big 2-1 win if we get it. Perhaps somewhat fortuitous, but we took the chance that came our way. It might not be over. Jack, you may have talked too soon. I haven't. It's 2-1. We've held out in this game, not like the Everton game where we completely crumbled. Kabasele with a really good performance. And that does see us move out of the Champions League group stage, top of the group, even with Everton's game in hand. Everton beating Copenhagen 4-1, but of course, just due to how well we've done against Porto in both games against them, we are going to finish top of this group fairly comfortably. And well, on that, it seems a little bit silly now to do the Everton game, so I probably won't do that this episode. But anyway, that's a really, really good performance. We qualified for the first knockout round. We will be a number 1 seed, of course. Just looking back to last year, we had the disappointment of getting knocked out in the Champions League first knockout round at the hands of Benfica, and we suffered somewhat from the fact we finished second in our group. No thanks, really, to the fact that we slipped up against Steaua Bucharest and lost 2-1. That kind of result really hurt us. Of course, the fact we were in a group with Barcelona probably also hurt us a little bit. But no, that's a good performance there, and it will see us get top of the group. So far, it's been a really good performance this year. I kind of look at the team. We've got a few injuries in the midfield, but hopefully those players are going to be back and fit and raring to go. In terms of kind of at this almost halfway mark in the season, Mosca's on 23 goals. He's got a long way to go if he wants to get the 70-odd that he seems to sometimes get. But we have only played 7 league games. There's still 20 more left to go. A lot of those games, of course, coming in the second half of the season in Gibraltar. Guendouzi's also done well for us. Girard, despite being injured, has done very well for us. It's looking like we're going to be doing well this year. Certainly the next few years, I'm very optimistic about our chances to really progress in Europe. Hopefully reach a final in the next few years. When you look at our team, defensively, we're absolutely solid with Kabasele, Assad, Mustafa and Gaikinov. You know what? Some people will say Young could perhaps be replaced in goal, and you might not be wrong. His aerial reach and command of area have both declined from 16s to 15s recently, but he seems to always put good performances in for us, the Swede, and we have got a few good little goalkeepers on the ups. But no, so far, as I said, so good this year. Mosca has standout performer. Joe Bouchard and Paul Smith putting in really good performances as well this year. Something that I don't know if we've had much of that from them over the last few years. It feels like the last few years they've been less key players for us. But so far this year, I mean, Smith's been on fire. It's 8.74 average rating for him. Not had a rating that high in, well, a number of years. And Bouchard, an 8.52 for him. He's performing equally as well. But no, guys, that is going to wrap up this episode from me. I appreciate, and I guess I apologise for the fact it's a slightly shorter one, although we have that Everton game coming up. The fact we've qualified doesn't really mean that it means that much to me. In terms of when we'll be back, we have got a double header against Gibraltar Lions, which I'm tempted to do at the end of December, so I may well see you guys for that one. As always, if you have enjoyed this episode though, guys, leave a like. If you've got any comments, leave them down below. And other than that, it is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.